We got another edition of the Boxing Moment here with my man Darnell in the building. This is going to be exciting. So I'm coming at you live from Vegas, hours away from Crawford and Porter. And Darnell is back there in the home office in the Midwest hanging out. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great as always. I mean, we got a big one coming on tonight. We got Crawford, we got Porter, and we thought we got a little glimpse into the weigh-in yesterday when they faced off, and it looked like it's going to be a firefight. And if I had to bet my money, I'd say it's going to be a firefight. But yeah, that's just my assumption. But how are you doing?
I'm all right. We're here doing the ring walk right now, getting set up. I feel, the reason I'm saying the ring walk is that, it's that nervous feeling before you get out. You can see it in their face. You're trying to figure out who they gonna have with them. Are they gonna have the Migos with them? Are they gonna go old school? Are they gonna bring an artist out with them? Are they gonna come out by themselves? Are they gonna come out with no shirt? But like you said, that weigh-in yesterday, and they both came in great shape and are serious, and that's what makes this such a it's one of those things it's going to be a great fight because both these guys are professionals. Both these guys are going to put the work in. It feels like the Errol Spence Porter type fight where it's going to be a battle and it's going to be a moment that's going to decide, uh, you know, who's going to do it. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be here. I will be down there near ringside, which is great as growing up here. At RSG. Excited about continue to. I was texting back and forth with our good friend, a friend of the program up here, Dougie Fisher, and they were trying to work hard on editing the new edition of Ring Magazine. So we were trying to get him on, but they had to get that out, and so I think Dan Raphael is going to be covering the fight for Ring here in Vegas. So we'll definitely get him on post fight to talk about it. So it's just been that kind of the setup to the fight, man. It feels like one of those moments where you just know this is going to be a great fight and great for boxing. This is the kind of fight that tells you why boxing is still great, and it's one of those things that's hard to duplicate when you have a major fight. Uh, as we get into the open rounds of our discussion here on Boxing Moment here on RSG, um, talk a little bit about from your point how we got to these two. Like, what makes these two fighters special before we break them down for the fight and kind of get into the championship rounds and go to the card. Talk a little bit about in your opinion, and for those of you who are new to RSG, Darnell Kirkland Jr. is one of the rising stars in boxing. Well, he's one of the rising stars in sports. This is a young man who does his homework, loves it. It's just been great to watch him grow. But when it comes to his boxing game, there's a lot of things that he got skills in. This is his thing. I really love hearing him talk about. So talk about each fighter and what makes them special first before we get into the championship rounds and talk about who's got to do what.
So let's start off with the challenger. We got Sean Porter. It's a guy that he's a pro's pro. This is a guy that has fought whoever, whenever, wherever in the division. I mean, this is a guy who does not duck and dodge in an era where it is easy to duck and dodge. But this is a guy who's been in the ring with a prime Errol Spence Jr. He's been in the ring with a prime Keith Thurman. He's been in the ring with the prime um, Kell Brook. He's been in the ring with a prime Danny Garcia. It's a guy that he's not afraid to take the take the tough challenges, and that's something that's rare in sport today. And on top of that, as far as his skill set, what makes him special is his tenacity and his durability. This is a guy in Sean Porter who people some people affectionately and some people disparagingly call him Football Sean. And you know me, I'm a football guy. I play football. I coach football now, so I love that kind of stuff. But but some people have mixed opinions on it, on his fighting style. But he's a hard nosed guy. He loves to fight on the inside. He loves to get in your chest. And like a lot of guys, sometimes your biggest strength becomes your biggest weakness. he's a very strong guy. Like he's a very strong welterweight, but he's not necessarily a hard puncher, right? Because a lot of times he ends up smothering his work and taking a little bit of the power off of his own punches. But he's a guy that he's a tough out for anybody because he's gonna make you work, and you're gonna have to be in shape because he's gonna be in shape and he's gonna push you for all 12 rounds. And he's never been stopped. Like he's been in like I told you, he's been in with the Murderous Roll fighters. He's been in there with Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. He's never been stopped. So that just goes to show you he has a he has a great chin, especially to fight that type of style. And the name that I forgot was Yordenis Ugas. He fought Ugas too. Ugas is the guy. If you guys been following boxing, he's the guy that just beat Manny Pacquiao and I guess retired Manny Pacquiao, if you want to put it that way. But so yeah, there's a lot of things that goes into the career and the makeup of Sean Porter. But pivoting to the champion, Terrence Crawford, this is a guy that is a dog, absolute dog in every sense of the word. He from the background, from the mean streets of Omaha, Nebraska. I mean, before I started watching boxing, I didn't know there was that many brothers in Omaha, Nebraska. But I guess there's the mean streets everywhere. But this is a guy who, just like Sean Porter, he comes with that mean streak. He has a tenacity. But that's the thing that makes Bud so special because he's a technical fighter. He can box. He really knows how to box off his back foot and on the front foot. He's a very versatile fighter. But at the same time, he has that mean streak. It's something special when you have a guy where you can mix the skill set with the power and that mentality, like the killer mentality to go out and finish fights. It's rare when you have that combination, and when you do, it usually comes in. It usually culminates into a special fighter, that of like a Marvin Hagler, that of like a Pernell Whitaker had that. Roy Jones, well, Roy Jones was well, yeah, Roy Jones definitely. Roy
Hmm.
Jones, like he knew how to box. Like
Yeah.
sometimes he would throw caution to the wind sometimes, but he knew how to box. But yeah, that when Sugar Ray Robinson, like usually the guys at the top, those are the guys that can mix the mean streak with the skill set. Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, we can go on and on, but it's usually the best of the best. And Terrence Crawford has that combination.
Yeah, and you're right. You don't want to see RJ, right? There's Roy Jones, and then there's RJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
did
didn't
not
want to
want.
have to do this,
I
but
don't
y'all
want to
made
have to do this. You must have
it.
forgot.
I
And
almost killed that boy by mistake. Like, Roy Jones was something else.
I mean, I was on Terrence Crawford early on. I'm like, this guy's in Nebraska. Like, he's the most exciting thing in Nebraska because the Cornhuskers aren't doing anything. And I'm like, and it was almost like he was organizing this movement. You know me, I got this big Midwest thing. And, and people, we get very coastal in our analysis. But so much has been driven by the Midwest historically. And it was just, I was just so proud to have this brother coming out of the Midwest, and bringing his story, especially, that's, that Midwestern work ethic coming to the forefront in that dog, and people used to get on him because he wasn't really flashy in the interviews all the time early on because he was just all about that business, and to the point where he hasn't got that opportunity, and then you bring Porter that same type of um, because he's from
He's
Cleveland.
also from the Midwest. He's
Yeah,
from Cleveland,
he's from
Ohio.
yeah, that other Midwest dog, and they just both said, forget the nonsense and the politics. If we the only ones willing to get in, let's get it down and let's do it. And so I really love the way both these fighters have come to this fight, both serious, ready to give the fans something that they can cheer about. This is a boxing moment on Real Sports Guys. You can catch all of our stuff at realsportsguys.com. And as we're here on this weekend, and we're also preparing to go into the Mile Invitational, so I want to get a shout out to Bowman Medical Group, Mind Match Development Group, and Red Insurance Group, who are our key sponsors for this Maui Invitational weekend. as well. So I want to give them some love out there as well as a sponsor. And y'all hear more about it as we get into the Bio Invitational. But want to give love here in the boxing moment as well. That's why I'm in Vegas, and so we're gonna get the fight, and then we're gonna get to some basketball as well. And so Darnell will be out here in Vegas coming out, so he'll get the post fight buzz when he gets here, hits the ground in Vegas when we're covering the Mile Invitational. But right now, it's all about the boxing right now. So as we try to make our move into kind of what I would say the championship rounds of this discussion. You've helped us to get a feel for the buzz around this. You helped us to understand who these two fighters are all about. Now I want you to. Now they're gonna get in the ring. These two great fighters. Uh, People like to use the word warriors. I think people you overuse that, but when it comes to these two fighters, I think you can clearly say that's who they are coming into the ring. These are the kind of fighters when they come to the ring that fighters come to see. Like there are some big fights in there. You'll see some champions there, but these are kind of fights where you'll see champions who rarely come out come. You'll see this is where you see the real folks come. They come to fights like this. As you start to break this fight down, how do you before we go to the card and get your prediction? What are the things that each fighter needs to do for them to have a chance to win this fight?
Well, Porter, starting off with Porter, Porter's gonna need to make Crawford uncomfortable. I mean, he's going to have to be Porter. I mean, using his skill set, I think he's going to have to do what he usually does, and that is pressure. And he's going to have to be smart with it though,
Hmm.
because we've seen in the Jeff Horn fight that Crawford, it's not necessarily smart to just run in there and rush Crawford. Crawford, he knows how to counter and he has power too, and he's stronger than you think. So I think he has to use calculated, educated pressure to win this fight. And if I'm in the quarter of Terrence Crawford, you have to he's gonna have to box at the beginning. I think he's got the box. He's gonna feel him out. And in the later rounds, once he has a feel of Sean Porter, then he's going to open up and start to put more combinations together. And
One of the, you just what, go ahead and say what you're going to finish up, and I was gonna do a follow up question to that because
no,
you
I
laid.
was, I was pretty much just going to wrap that up. Just pretty much saying that my plan will be to start off boxing, just trying to feel him out, and then starting to turn it up more into the later rounds.
And you raised some really good points. I mean, one of the things I've noticed sometimes about Crawford that Porter can touch. If he can keep Crawford at times will let you get him on the ropes, and if and Porter's really good getting working people when they're on the ropes. And I think that if he can smother his punches, get him on the ropes, I think that's a place where he's going to have to do. As long as they're fighting out in the middle of the ring, and I think Porter's tried to demonstrate he could box, and he's really developed a good jab over it. But I think in this fight, I agree with you. He's got to be Porter, and he's got to restrict the space in which Crawford can operate, which is very difficult because Crawford's so talented. But I think his best chance is if he can get in the corner on the ropes, push him, make him react to that space, and keep it as much out the middle of the ring. I think that he also has a chance in that way. And I agree with you. Crawford he starts to put that data together on you through them first 3 or 4 rounds, and then you start to see him execute his game plan. And the fact that he can fight southpaw or orthodox, equal as equally effective, makes him sometimes a very. I think people forget that until they see him because so many people have been running away from him. When you start seeing him in with that really high level talent, you realize how great he is. Like they saw with Horn in that. Do you think um, do you think that? Well, I'll leave this for your prediction. So I'm not going because that might push you towards your prediction. We're gonna get into the championship. We got in the championship rounds. We've been just doing this. We're gonna go to the cards. This is where the young he's put all the data together. He's gone in. He's done the analysis. He's slept hard. He's done all this stuff. He's woken up. Now, this one thing we talked about is that this is not a card that is got the real um, uh, uh, appetizers. So sometimes you go to a place, they give you them heavy appetizers, and then they give you the meal. You feel like you sometimes full before you get that. That's not this kind of card. This card is all about the entree. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. This is a fight. I don't want to be disrespectful, but yeah, for a pay per view card, this is kind of light. And if I was you, I know you're gonna be in the building, but if I was you, you might as well go to the casino and bet the house on Crawford. And that's what I think. That's my suggestion. Just go to the casino. You probably see Adrian Broner up there, but go. You might as well get
You
to
know
an
I'm gonna go up
interview.
and say something to my boy AB. You from the Midwest, man. We need the real AB. Well, all right, we'll leave that alone. I'll go up there with AB and bet the house, right?
Yeah,
So do you see this as a late knockout or a decision?
I see it as a knockout because there's a couple ways where this can go. There's a couple scenarios that I see, but one of the ways I see is Porter's going to try to force the issue, and I think Porter's going to make Crawford knock him out. I think that's just the way it is. I think Sean Porter's not going in here to lay down. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to go and give it everything he has. And Terrence Crawford has already shown that he knows how to handle it. And if let's be honest, Sean Porter's open. Sean Porter, if you could go back and watch old Sean Porter fights, he's open. Watch the Keith Thurman fight. Watch the Earl Spence fight. He leaves a lot of openings, and I think Terrence Crawford will be able to find them, and he will eventually stop Sean Porter. It could be early, it could be late. I think it's going to be a stoppage. He's on a knockout streak right now. I think it will continue.
All right. So you got the prediction from our man, and I've learned not to get in his way because he always sends me a text like I told you, and so we call it the gospel for this. This is a great
Hey,
fight.
the last big fight, Canelo Plant, I called it to the round. I called it to the 11th round. But this one, I'm not gonna give you a round because I don't see it as clear as I did for that one.
But hey, I'm trusting you, brother, and I look forward to having you join me out here in Vegas for the Maui Invitational. Please check us out. I know Youngin will be up here, putting the stuff out there on social media. So make sure you follow him on that. We'll be getting stuff out. This is a big weekend, a big week for us here at RSG. As I said before, I want to thank the good folks that we have over there at Red Insurance. Also, Bowman Medical Group, who's been with us along on the ride, and our new corporate partner, Mind Match Development Group, who have been will become great partners with us. We're excited. We will be having interviews coming up with the CEOs of those companies to share their story. That's one of the things we try to do. We on this journey together, and we always try to make sure you understand who are these people behind, who are these corporate partners. We're very careful about those relationships, and we want to make sure you understand the great stuff, and you support them as well as you've supported us along the way. And so, until to the other side, until we get to the other side of that final bell, Young and I will see you on another edition of the Boxing Moment here on RSG.